to another edition of Meet the Metapreneur. Earlier this week, I met Erin Grover at a Web3 conference in Dubai, and I invited her to join us on this show. Welcome to this broadcast, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. And I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yeah, so long story short, my work started abroad with the UN and different NGOs in my 20s, working in places like Afghanistan, India, Nepal, Cambodia. And then I just got burnt out from living in all these places, especially the war zones. So I eventually transitioned into cryptocurrency with asset management. I worked in the crypto fund space, and then I've been exploring supply chain on blockchain and carbon on blockchain. So right now, my number one focus is blockchain native carbon credits.
Great. I know that in our last conversation, you mentioned about your passion for, sustainability, being a crusader for fighting for climate change issues. Can you update me on this? What got you into this space, and where do you think technology is taking us?
I have naturally always been fighting for sustainability since I was a child, because I was raised by an activist family of many generations who caused a lot of change in Ireland, actually. But as far as getting into the carbon space, when I was doing research around blockchain supply chain and supporting farmers with produce and their supply chains, I realized that carbon would become very important in the blockchain story, because when you have these farmers using blockchain every day, you can collect data in new ways, and you give them access in their hand to the blockchain. And now that carbon credits are moving to blockchain, it's getting easier and easier for farmers to monetize their own carbon credits.
Right. I know you are heading out to COP27 in Egypt. So what is the program there? Can you share with us some of the panels or topics that you'll be involved in?
Well, I'm mostly focused on carbon, of course, but I have my industry peers who will be showing up, and different activists from around the world, and a lot of them are focused on carbon in different ways. I know one woman who's showing up who works a lot with tribes in the rainforest of the Amazon, and supporting them to hold on to their land, and their forest is supporting the keeping of the carbon in the ground. So I have another friend who's going, there's a plastics section at the COP. So he's doing recycling of plastic on blockchain, and I'll be attending those events with him. And my second biggest concern right now is the oceans, which helps with the balance of carbon, and the microplastics in the oceans right now are not helping with that. So that is another important initiative that we need to focus on.
What is the advice you would give to leaders of organizations in this space? What do they need to do today to secure our tomorrow?
Well, it's really, I know there are many companies and people who want to make a difference, and then they invest in things that they think are real. But one of the biggest problems is I find that people don't make their due diligence, or maybe they think they are, but they're not. And I think if you had more people understanding where they're really putting their money, and this has happened with carbon markets, for example, for the last 3 decades, if they really knew where it was going, then they'd make better decisions. So it's really about looking beyond the logo and the fancy website, and whether your friends or another company investing in a certain carbon product, right? You have to make your own due diligence. That's a bit more challenging, but there are ways and people to help you. And I was recently talking about chain analysis and how they can provide auditing services for what is actually on chain. And I'm actually suggesting to people now moving forward, like if you really want to know what's going on with the blockchain and if it matches to what the company is doing, start with looking at auditing organizations and companies like Chainalysis.
Right. And do you agree that it's also about educating people, like getting people up to speed in terms of, what they need to do as individuals to make a difference?
Yes, for sure. And the problem is, I think one person will feel like they can't make a difference, but they can. And if you have a bunch of people making differences in small ways, then that adds up collectively. And then there's the education right now that really needs to get out there, is that, based on research and what scientists are saying, we have about 3 to 5 years to turn around in the carbon crisis. And if we don't, we are pretty much destined to the end here. So yeah, I was just speaking with someone in America who's very intelligent. And I said, we have 3 to 5 years. And he said, no, I didn't know that. And that's something that's just not talked about so much in America, from what I understand. But yeah, maybe I'm just biased because I have a circle of very smart carbon experts around me. So that could be my own bubble too.
Yeah, I was also reading, I think online somewhere, that the Gen Z, I think, can power this revolution. And, the youngsters need to get involved in these conversations. And, luckily for us, they have started asking the right questions, even in job interviews. Youngsters are asking prospective employers, what are they doing on the HSE and sustainability front? So I think that's a good conversation to be having. And in your opinion, do you think certain courses need to be implemented in schools, colleges, and universities as part of the curriculum to, shape this conversation?
Yes, I think it should be mandatory in every school right now. If health is mandatory for every school, just basics in health, the basics of environmentalism should be required as well, because if it's not, we're headed towards a huge disaster. So we need systemic education at this point.
Right. And are there any resources you would like to point out for our audience who are interested in participating in programs that, can get them involved on a day-to-day basis? Are there some websites or resources that you could direct them to?
No, that's an interesting question. I don't have any resources as far as education and environmentalism and being an activist. I would just say that I know so many people, I should probably make my own website, but I would say that I'm always available on LinkedIn if people want to reach out to me on LinkedIn. There's actually lately the most amazing people I've found doing the real work has been through LinkedIn. If you figure out your search terms the right way, it's very easy. So it's helped me in my own work. I've recently met someone who is an impact advisor to the British royal family, just by surfing around and connecting with people on LinkedIn. And he's very intelligent and one of the world's leading regenerative agriculture experts. So you never know who you're going to find there.
Right. Actually, I created a resource about the environment some 15 years back, when I read in the newspaper that UAE had the highest carbon footprint in the world. And that got me really thinking. So I created an initiative called Go Green, which is online at go-green.ae. So I would direct, our audience to that resource. We update it almost on a daily basis with news stories about this space. And we also run a Go Green Ambassadors program. So, people who are interested in joining this, I won't say it's a movement, but it's a program, can very easily join us by going to go-green.ae. It's a voluntary program. and you can join some of our initiatives such as beach cleanups, talking on Earth Day to schools, colleges, university students. So yeah, we've kept that going. It's been 15 years. And I believe we have now more than 20,000 ambassadors part of this program in 60 plus countries.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, I would encourage founders of businesses in the blockchain space, in the Web3 space, to take the lead and devote at least a couple of hours a week, on this front. So, Erin, before I let you go, some advice you would like to give to entrepreneurs, in the metaverse space, how they can probably build a platform in the metaverse to create a movement of sorts.
In the metaverse, I haven't fully wrapped my head around it, but I think that having at least a meeting space in the metaverse for these movements would be exciting. Seeing like a sustainability kind of TED Talk event in the metaverse would be really cool too. That's where I'm very interested. So
Actually, that's a great idea, and I'm going to organize such an event. We have a community called Meta Shapers, and we host once a month events in the metaverse. So the next topic is going to be about climate change, and I will definitely invite you to be one of the speakers there. But anyway, we are having our next webinar on 15th November, which is climate solutions in Web3. And I know this was your idea, and I'm happy to take it forward. We have two other panelists who are going to be joining us, so I'm looking forward to that conversation. So thank you, Erin, for joining me today. And I'm sure we'll reach more than 50,000 people in the next 48 hours by way of our network. And small steps will lead to giant results. So once again, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much.